welcome again to the Paddy Power Poker Irish Open of 2009 right here at City West. 2.24 million euros reside in the prize pool and 700 starting runners. Mind you, with the blinds jumping so quick and fast, they're beginning to drop like flies. Some of the world greats and indeed the Irish heroes, such as Padraig Parkinson, are still in the thick of it though. So why don't I stop talking and let myself and Bex bring you down to the floor and bring you all the finest action from one of Europe's most prestigious poker events. But before we get to the floor, let's find out how they play this glorious game of no-limit Texas Hold'em poker. These are the rules. In this situation, we are dealing with an 8-handed table. That means 8 players. One player starts with the dealer button right in front of him. It's that large chalk-like polo mint you see on the left of your screens. Now, the player initially to the left of the dealer button is known as the small blind. You see him here glowing a nice nuclear green. This is a compulsory bet. You see the chip in front of him on the table that has to be put into the pot before the hand is even played. Initially to his left is a position known as the big blind. Again, another compulsory bet that has to go into the pot, and this is always double the small blind. Now, each player gets held or dealt 2 down cards, 2 private cards, 2 pocket cards as they're known, and the first position left of the big blind is known as under the gun. The options for this player are to fold, to call, or to raise. And you can see on your screens exactly what each of those phrases mean. In this instance, we see a fold, and then action continues round to the left. And, well, as we see here, an awful lot of folds. Each player has the same options, to call, raise, or fold. And here we get a call. Action continues the whole way round until it finally reaches the big blind, or the final last raise. And in this situation, I think we're going to see a call. So, we will have a bet and then a call. We will have 2 players to the flop. And when I say flop, what I mean is the first 3 cards, 3 community cards, dealt on the table. You can see there 1 card is dealt down. It's burnt by tradition. And then 3 cards face up for anyone to play. Again, another round of betting commencing to the left of the button. And following around to the left for each player to decide to fold, call, or raise once again. Then the 4th card, also called the turn card, appears. Another round of betting ensues. And finally, the 5th card, aka the river, is shown on the board. This is the final card. And a final round of betting then ensues. So cards go in their back. And the winning hand, according to the World Ranking of Hands, takes down the pot. Speaking of the World Ranking of Hands, now is probably a good time to introduce you to them. Here they are. We start at the bottom with just a high card, in this situation an ace. A pair is 2 paired cards. 2 pairs, well, it does what it says in the tin. 3 of a kind is 3 matched cards. Aces in this situation. A straight is 5 cards in a row of any sequence. 5 cards of the same suit of any sequence is called a flush. A full house is 3 of a kind in a pair. 4 of a kind says it on the tin. Straight flush. 5 cards in a row, all the same suit. And a royal flush is a straight flush, ace high. So, this is our TV feature table. Starting off in position number 1, Andreas Christoforou. David McGillum in position 2. Seat 3 hosts Francis MacDonald. Seat 4, Padraig Parkinson, a famous face in Irish poker. Ashley Hames fills the 5th seat. There's Andy Tram, and seated immediately to his left, Peter Eichhardt, and last but not least, Catherine O'Brien. So, there we have it. They are our featured 8. I am DP Fitzgerald, and lucky enough to be joined in the commentary box today by Mr. Neil Channing. Neil, how are we doing?
Hi, DP. Yeah, doing good. Looking forward to this table. Got a couple of lively players here.
Blind starting at 150 and 300. And here we go. First to act, Andreas Christoforou from Cyprus.
So he's raising from under the gun, first position.
We raise all in.
Which normally tells your opponents I've got a strong hand. But Francis MacDonald doesn't seem too worried by that. He just immediately moves all in for 3,700. That's a tricky one for Andreas Christoforou. Normally when you've raised under the gun, you've shown a lot of strength. And when the other guy shows strength back to you like that... Oh, hang on a minute. I'll stop a second, because Peter Urquhart's got a decision as well.
The 43-year-old Swede.
Yeah, this is tricky for everybody, really. Peter must be thinking to himself, a pair of 9s is above average hand in this situation. Francis MacDonald has a fairly smallish stack, and maybe he's just getting a bit desperate. and a pair of nines might be above what we would call his range of hands that he'd put him on. You think about what kind of hands he might be moving all in from this situation. But the big interesting thing about the hand is that Andreas Christoforou has raised under the gun. So Andreas has said to the table, he sent a clear message: I have a strong hand, I'm in first position with the whole table behind me, and I'm happy to raise with my hand. And when Francis McDonald then moves all in, totally disregarding that information, you would think he would have to have a big hand. But Peter's decided that 2 nines is way above average, and he's decided to go all in. He's probably thinking to himself that he can knock Andreas out of the pot, and worst ways he's hoping he'll be in a 50-50. I'm not sure whether I like Peter's thinking here. A lot of the time he's going to find himself up against 2 10s or 2 jacks.
Well, luckily the 2 5s are out of there.
As it
So we've
happens,
erased.
yeah, he got the 2 5s out, and he got himself into what we would, traditionally call a race situation. It's roughly 50-50. The 2 nines, a small favourite over the ace-king suited.
Look at the Swedes, look at the Irish.
I think it's more. Look at the Scottish.
Yeah, Peter, no money invested in the pot. The blinds are only 153. I think he took quite a big risk there, putting 9,000 in with a pair of nines when it's already gone raise and re-raise. And it doesn't look like it's going to pay off at the moment, because the flops come with a king. And he needs to hit one of the 2 remaining nines in the deck to get out of this trouble.
That's not one of them. So,
And
he's down to 5%.
Francis McDonald got to be happy, because he had got a bit short-stacked, and once he re-raises someone and then finds another man behind going all in, he might be thinking he's walked into a big hand like aces or kings here. So he's probably quite relieved that it was only a pair of nines, and even more relieved when he saw the king come down.
So, the 33-year-old dolphin trainer from Scotland, residing in Dublin, doubles up.
Must be one of the few dolphin trainers in today's field, I would think.
Well, the emerging market of dolphin sales in Dublin recently has attracted a huge interest. Poker and dolphins, a new combo. Eichart raised up again.
Now, of course, Peter just lost that pot, and people might be thinking to themselves, maybe he's a little bit hotted up at the moment, maybe he hasn't got such a big hand, he just wants to win his money back straight away. And that's probably going through the other players' minds at the moment. Pair of sevens, obviously, an above-average hand, and he's decided to have a raise with it quite reasonably in normal circumstances. His problem here, though, maybe they don't give him the credit for a hand.
Re-raise. 3,025 total.
Andreas deciding to come straight in with a re-raise. Quite a big re-raise as well.
Yeah.
Traditionally, when you're re-raising in this spot, you're going to go for slightly less than 3 times the other fella's bet, and he's gone for considerably more than that. And it is a big hand, 2 kings. Peter's made himself a tricky decision, because he's thinking to himself that perhaps Andreas doesn't give him a big hand here because he thinks he's steaming. And Andreas taking a while to call now. I really like this. He's got a pair of kings. He's obviously going to call. I think he should just get on with it and show his hand, really. It's not a very nice situation for Peter. His whole tournament's on the line, and Andreas is giving him the real sweat up.
Okay.
Yeah, it took a long time to turn over his cards, but they're all on their backs now. Peter, not in the prettiest of situations, with 4-1.
Yeah, he was plodding along quite nicely with 90-100, and 2 hands later, he's a 20% chance to stay in the Irish Open.
Well, that flop isn't going to do him any favours.
Doesn't look so good for him now.
Maybe runner for the